Oh, wait, no longer greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I'm your host, Joseph, aka Mr. Badbit, and it is here where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. Of course, you can listen to this show wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube at the Trophy Room Show. And if you like what you hear, please consider dropping us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts. You can plop us a follow on Spotify or toss a buck our way over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. So with all that said, and with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's just a fine day today. I feel like a lot of people are making me mad, and I'm just in a very grumpy mood.
Yeah, is Twitter doing it? Is Twitter the culprit?
Twitter's a big one.
Yeah.
And just some minor things that are probably just in my own head and beefing up the situations more than what they need to be, kind of thing. Like, I'm just very grumpy today. I don't know why. Yeah,
I'm a little grumpy too. And it has to do with like people that don't want to review games that they're given. I feel like that is a level of privilege that I have not seen in a while, and it's come again.
Yeah, I mean,
shout out to you, Waypoint.
Most of my grumpiness is towards like that Twitch leak.
Oh, okay.
I was seeing like how much all the top streamers make, and then people are complaining like, how dare they make so much money? I'm like, well, what?
How dare they be the best at their craft?
Right? Like, yeah. It just annoys me. It just annoys me.
I get it.
People like saying like, oh, they're taking advantage of us, saying that we're friends or whatnot. Like, what? You clearly know what's going on here. Yeah, I don't understand.
That said, if you're listening to the show, you are a friend of us.
Oh, okay? 100%. Right. Not blowing smoke.
Now give us $1,000. Kyle, I got a question for you. I was thinking about this while I was doom scrolling on Twitter.
Yeah.
What is the appropriate time to get nostalgic for something?
Ooh.
Before we get into the PlayStation, because I saw this on Twitter. Someone's like, oh, it's time to get nostalgic over Spider-Man PS4. And I'm like, is that too, that's too soon to be nostalgic?
That's too soon.
Like, to me, nostalgic is like 10 years back.
Yeah. I was about to say like a decade. I think makes it feel a little bit more like
if I'm thinking
you look back with rose-colored glasses on and whatnot, like
exactly. Like I'm thinking of like the perfect example is like the 90s for me. I'm like, I remember my Game Boy, that gets me nostalgic. I remember my PSP from the 2000s, nostalgia. But like Ghost of Tsushima I played 2 months ago, I'm not nostalgic over Ghost of Tsushima. That's 2 months ago.
No.
I can't even be nostalgic over Bloodborne. God, is it going to be like 6 years? It's been a minute. I'll get the days down in a second. But listen, we got a lot to talk about here regarding PlayStation. And Bluepoint finally comes home. And with the arrival of Bluepoint to the PlayStation Studios family comes rumors of their next project being Bloodborne related. We're going to talk about how play trials hit the PlayStation 5, rumors of Sly Cooper coming back, Konami starting up Castlevania and Metal Gear Solid remakes and remasters, and of course our hands-on review / impressions of Far Cry 6 and Alan Wake for the PlayStation 5. But before we get into all of that, I want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. Now, I want to be transparent with everybody, Kyle, since you talked about this Twitch, leak. We don't make millions or even thousands of dollars over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. Every cent that goes into this Patreon goes right back into the production of this show. It's the reason why we look so good, we sound so great. It's because of your generosity over at patreon.com/PS Trophy Room. I want to thank our newest members, Toxic at the Platinum tier, and Dewane Raksha at our Silver tier, and Mannix at the Silver tier as well. I want to thank our Platinum producers, Todd Burowitz and Too Soon. I want to thank our Gold members, Brad Presnell, nailed it, Gavin Gottfried, Jose Jimenez, Jedi Master Ed, Metal Kirby, and Robbie Bobby Miller himself. I want to thank our Silver Plus members, Hide Indoors, Nakachaka, Marcus O'Neill. Oh, It's just Ray. JB the Purple Monkey, Jadis Von Metal, Tim Ulf, Justin Rodriguez, Awesome Dave, Cypher Primus, Captain Logan, Tom Roper, Brenton Zachary, Eric Arrington, and Mr. and Mrs. Nasty Boots. And as I said this, I almost forgot. Awesome Dave is a gold member now. He upgraded. Thank you, Awesome
Banger
Dave.
Of a choice, Dave.
Ooh, don't let the... Remember, I got the censor button now, Kyle.
Yeah, but that works for you. That doesn't work for me.
And you know what? Now that we have a lot more listeners since last week's show, which was our most popular show ever, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I don't like the word banger. It's overused. I hate it. It's the worst. And I refuse to say it. Only in situations like this where I'm describing how much I loathe it. It's just like a hipster word. It's just wear the flannel and say it, I dare you. So
yeah, give me some flannel. I'll whatever. I'm down.
So, the folks in this community like to test me and like to push my buttons. And now I have a button to push. So every time I say that word, I'm going to bleep it. I also want to give
But
notice.
You're still saying the word.
No.
It's like if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Nope. Yes, it does. It's happening.
No one's here to hear it. No witnesses. I do have to give comment to a 5-star review we got over in Australia, of all places.
Ooh.
Duke 15, the best of all the Dukes, at least 14 of them. He says, they say, like the bleep machine, started listening to this podcast after hearing it on Beyond. Love it so far. Also, great that they use a bleep machine so I can listen while my kids are around. Please don't.
Joe and I will find ways to circumvent the bleep and still be raunchy.
I get passionate. We're from New Jersey. Yeah. It's what we do. We go, hey,
whoa. Don't lump me into Jersey.
Whoa. Best state in the union.
You said we're from Jersey. I'm from Long Island, New York, part
Tri-state.
of New York. Come on. Get out of here.
Long Island is...
New Jersey's nothing. I saw a very funny...
New Jersey's nothing.
Long Island
has funny... some... Okay.
Hey, listen, Long Island is like the 13th largest state if we were a state in terms of population. Get out of here with that. But I saw a funny TikTok. They were like outlining the states that they love, and they start from like Long Island or from New York, and they go around all the way around. And then when it comes to Jersey, they just cut it out.
Damn.
And I was like, oh, you got me, TikToker. You got me. I love it.
Yeah, you know what? We don't even need this union. We're out of here. We're starting our own thing.
Oh, jeez.
Hey.
The new Jersey.
Yeah, the newest Jersey. Forget that island in, the UK and the old state that was right next to a garbage armpit that is New York City. Yeah. It is what it is.
How dare you?
All right, Kyle. It's time to get into PlayStation. No more of this rivalry between New Jersey and New York. We all know who the winner is. It's New Jersey. So it's time to square up the news.
First bit of news that needs to be squared up is from Jonathan Dornbush over at IGN. PlayStation officially acquires Bluepoint Games. Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced yet another studio acquisition, Bluepoint Games, the developers of the Shadow of the Colossus remake on PS4, and most recently, the PS5 remake of Demon's Souls. Bluepoint and PlayStation have worked closely together for years, but the news comes after the studio's latest successful release, as Sony confirmed Demon's Souls has sold more than 1.4 million copies since release. Quote, "We are thrilled to have officially joined PlayStation Studios. Austin, Texas has been home base for Bluepoint from when we first founded the studio back in 2006, and we're now a team of close to 70 super talented creatives and growing. While the studio has certainly grown over the past 15 years, our cultural beliefs have remained the same, to always push the envelope and create the highest quality games possible, all while having fun doing it. The focus on culture has been instrumental to our success, and we're excited that PlayStation Studios shares a similar culture and vision. PlayStation has such an iconic gaming catalog, and for us, there's been nothing better than to bring some of the gaming's masterpieces to new players. Becoming a part of PlayStation Studios empowers our team to raise the quality bar even further and create even more impactful experiences for the PlayStation community. Thanks to everyone who's supported us throughout the years. We can't wait to bring you more amazing games in this next chapter for Bluepoint Games," end quote. Marco Thrush, president of Bluepoint Games. Now back to the article. Demon's Souls was only released last November, and while Bluepoint isn't officially announcing its next game, Thrush explained that the studio is aiming to work on original content going forward. No exact details about what the original content Bluepoint is working on will be, so it remains unclear if it is a new game that is part of an existing IP or something new entirely. Last Herman Hulst, when asked the recent acquisitions, stated the following, quote, "We are open always to building new relationships or bringing people in-house, but only if we adhere to the quality-first mentality and the right kind of innovative content, new experiences, and diverse experiences." Hulse added, "We're not buying teams just to be bigger. We're only buying teams because we feel that together we're going to make something that is going to be even better than if we did it separate from one another," end quote.
Also goes, this is a little excerpt out of PlayStation Lifestyle that quotes that the day of Colin Moriarty, who is the host of Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, which listen to him after us, okay, please. All right, you're here. Don't be rude. He said the following, that rumor has it Bluepoint is going to be returning to Yharnam. And when people were looking at that original content, it doesn't say new IP. It doesn't even like rule out the, remake. Maybe it does a little bit, but it doesn't say that they're not revisiting a certain game or series. It's just original content. So, okay, this gets me thinking. First and foremost, after the leak in June or July, Bluepoint's finally come home. So now that it's official, now that PlayStation's finally put a ring on it, I want to get too ahead of myself here, Kyle. What are your thoughts, man? How are you feeling about this acquisition?
I feel so good. It feels good. Yeah. It goes along with what I've said on the show before, that PlayStation buying studios, I want them to buy studios that have that lineage and history and given us, the PlayStation community, a reason to love that studio and love what they make, kind of thing. So when when Herman said it in this last sentence that I wrote, where we're only buying teams because we feel that together we're going to make something that's even better than if we did it separate, like that's cool, man. That's awesome. That's kind of what I want from buying studios up. As far as Bluepoint making something original, like original content wise, I'm all for it. Bluepoint is clearly a talented studio. Whatever they make is going to be outstanding. Like you said, it was interesting. They didn't say new IP. They just said original content. So yeah, are they just doing a sequel to a Bloodborne, or are they doing like a full-fledged sequel to like Legend of Dragoon? Because that was a one-off. Like, there's a lot of possibilities there, and I'm very eager to know what it is. I know you obviously want a Bloodborne 2, like God that knows. First. Yeah, because Joe's got to get everything he wants. Kyle can't have one thing.
That's right. That's right.
I told you I was grumpy today.
Well, what's that one thing, Kyle? What, like, is it a Legend of Dragoon? That's your one thing you want?
In the rumors of Bluepoint remake of the second remake that was in that vague tweet that they put up, they hinted at Legend of Dragoon, and that is the remake I would want most from them. Because I think that RPG is so underrated, and it's locked on PS1. That is the only place you can really play it. So I hope it gets some love.
I mean, that would be such a challenge, right? Because Bluepoint, I think the furthest they've gone back, if I'm not mistaken, they did like the HD collection for Metal Gear, but like a full-blown remake to a PS1 game. I think I think of the Ico collection from them, which covers PS2. Ico, which is PS2, and Shadow of Colossus, which is PS2.
And so, the Uncharted trilogy, that was all PS3. So that would be the farthest back. I think anyone. No, that's not true. Crash.
Crash and Spyro. Yeah. So it's not like it can't be done, but I would be very interested to see how they pull it off. And of course, as the PlayStation fans that we are, and as hardcore as we are, we know the pedigree of Bluepoint, so we have all faith in their capabilities. And you're right. Even this community was just like, it's Bloodborne. Give us Bloodborne. Yeah. It's been 2,388 days since the original Bloodborne. give us Bloodborne. So with that, Cloudside writes in, just like you can too, over at PS Trophy Room on Twitter or the Trophy Room Discord server, and they write, with Bluepoint having proved their skills with Demon Souls and the rumor that they are working on a Bloodborne project, first thoughts would point to a remake, but hearing it's an original content could FromSoft have handed them the keys to the sequel? Will Joe get his dream come true of a Bloodborne sequel? They go on to also mention that, yeah, this is without From, right? Like, this is out without Miyazaki. This is his child. And From Software openly talks about how Bloodborne is one of their favorite games that they have developed for. They love that franchise. I remember even talking about it on their show. They're just like, yeah, it's up to PlayStation. You know, they said they're up for it, but or up to making a sequel. But having Elden Ring come out in January of next year, and yes, it's kind of like we say we'd be interested in, but is it actually realistic? I want to go to you, Kyle, first and foremost. What do you think? Do you think From Software handed Bluepoint the keys to the car and said, you could drive it, we have faith in you?
It's very possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible. I don't know how From usually handles their IP and their works with other people. I imagine they hold it pretty close to their vest.
Pretty close.
So that would be interesting if they gave it off. I full faith in Bluepoint for pulling it off. I think they can do it. I just don't know if From would want to do that. And I think another thing that just popped in my head as again, someone not super familiar with the Soul series.
True.
I watched plenty of people talk about Demon Souls before the Bluepoint remake came out, and they were talking about things that they wish they did, and they very clearly stuck with the original.
Yeah.
Is there not, and correct me if I'm wrong out there, Joe, or anyone in the comments,
Sin Vendetta.
Is there not a broken archstone that it was supposedly like a secret area, whatever?
Yes.
Could that be the original content that they are making?
Yes. That's what I actually think this is.
Right? Like either DLC or like another full-fledged Demon Souls sub-tier kind of thing.
That is actually what I think. I don't think they're working on... I think they're working on Bloodborne, but yeah, more of a remake or remaster. Yeah. Just give us a 60 FPS patch. Sure. But if you're going to charge me 70, I don't care at this point. I'm thirsty and starving. But I do think when they talk about original content, there is a whole slab of like an expansion that could have been in Demon Souls that was cut out of the original game because they were just pressed for time. And that Broken Archstone, if I'm memory serves right, did serve as like that entry point. So, you know, there is also rumors of them working on a Miles Morales scale game, and that's what I'm thinking it is. Yeah. I think their multiple projects is one's a Demon Souls and one is Bloodborne, whatever that is. That said,
does that worry you, Joe? That if Bluepoint is now taking over the Souls-like games for PlayStation exclusive IPs per se, does that worry you that From games might go elsewhere and not be on a PlayStation platform?
No, I think they're pretty cemented here in the fact of like we got Neo, we got
that's fair.
Bloodborne.
Wait, Neo is From?
No, that's Tecmo Koei, but like they are in the same vein. I forget what they call that genre. It's like masochistic souls, whatever they call it. But like, yeah, I think this genre is pretty embedded with the PlayStation brand, and having a team that's like, yeah, this is all, or not all we do. I want Bluepoint to do more stuff than just this. But like, here's a team that's dedicated on making games like this. Cool, that's awesome. But the thing that does worry me, as all other From Software fans will tell you, Miyazaki plays a huge role in what makes these games tick. He's kind of like the Steve Jobs. He has these crazy ideas and then he tells people to do them and then they execute them perfectly. And that's without him, it's like, how are you going to do this? Is it going to be one of those things where it's like, I don't know. Rage 2, where it's like Avalanche Studios is making it, it's kind of overseeing it, and Bethesda's kind of paying them. Like, is it that type of situation where Miyazaki is kind of not at the helm, but giving them advice on where they should go with the story or characters? I don't even know. Yeah. And that's the thing that does worry me. As much as all this news excites me, and I think Bluepoint is awesome. We finally got it. All the studios we want home at PlayStation, we have them now. That's great. There is that concern that if you're touching Bloodborne, you are touching a From Software game that is not inherently a PlayStation studio. That's their vision, and you're kind of working on it secondhand, how that's going to really pay off. And if it can, we
don't want it to turn into the meme of, "Mommy, I want Bloodborne." We have Bloodborne at home, and it's not clearly the same thing.
Yeah,
we don't want that.
Yep, that's such a great one. Yeah, it's like we have McDonald's at home, and it's like McDoyle's.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, TPR writes in, he says, "With these Bloodborne rumors are going to make me die from exhaustion. I know, just tell me it's happening. I swear. But with that said, what would you want Bluepoint to sling at the Bloodborne IP besides 60 FPS patch?" And again, this is where I'm apprehensive. I'm like, I don't know. I like, there's... Like, what do I want them to sling at it? 60 FPS would be great. 4K, that'd be great. Haptics, adaptive triggers, that's all a given. I'll
tell you from my experience playing and why I stopped multiple times.
Yeah.
I get lost. I don't know where I'm going half the time.
That's the fun.
Is it though?
Yes.
Not to me. Like, I'm not saying like a gigantic holographic arrow point the direction you're going, but like something subtle, like the ghost wind. Just tell me if I'm going in the right direction.
Okay.
I know I can hear the Souls fans coming for me. I get it. That's how the game is supposed to be played. It frustrates me.
I get so nervous because this game is perfect to me, and it's kind of like The Last of Us Part 2. It's like, how do you top something that is perfect? You're not going to be able to please everybody, because I think everybody's mentality when you're going for a sequel is it has to be better than the first. It can't just be on its own. So what do I want them to do from the Bloodborne IP? They still, and as much as like they've done incredible remakes and remasters, they got to prove to me that they can do this. So I don't know per se, but you need to show me why you're the one. So give me that remake, polish it up, put that 60 FPS. I'd love a 120 FPS. I got the TV for you. Let's go for it.
Joe, you're asking too much there, sir.
You're right. I should settle. But no, I want to see what they're able to do with it. Personally, I think like when we take a look at Demon's Souls and how beautiful that game is, and it's just from the side-by-sides of PS3 to PS5 versions is just stunning. It's still one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen. That being said, remaking a PlayStation 4 game seems weird, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But for like, and I've seen some complaints of like, well, why can't you just go back into the older catalog? Why does it have to be Bloodborne? I would just say to argue because Bloodborne is so damn popular.
Mm-hmm.
It is just such a popular name within the genre and within PlayStation still. And that's why you have to do it, and you have to have a team doing it because, From Software is now too big for it. I do think they have other projects that is beyond Elden Ring that are a multi-platform, titles. Like, I bet they're working on Sekiro 2 right now, or in the idea phase with Activision in the West, That said, we got another message or question from Toxic, our newest patron. They write, "The Bluepoint acquisition is exciting. Curious to hear your thoughts on what genre of an original game you'd like to see from Bluepoint do if it doesn't turn out to be a Bloodborne sequel or remaster. What would you like to see them do? An original thing from Bluepoint?"
Man, I'm trying to see like what kind of gaps do we have in the PlayStation lineup, the studio lineup, because that's kind of what I want them to fill. And part of me says an RPG.
Okay.
whether that is an action RPG or even though those days are done of a turn-based RPG where you're waiting and whatnot. Yeah, I think an RPG would be super cool for them.
And I think just because I've been in such a Far Cry mood, I would love to see what a first-person shooter would look like from Bluepoint.
Yeah.
They're all about that authenticity. So, like, are you going to give us a Western? Could you do, like, a Cold War era? Like, let me see what you're able to achieve there. And that's that's a gap that's missing from PlayStation as well. So,
for sure.
Yeah. And to get out of the genres that we are super familiar with, what would a strategy game look like from Bluepoint?
Oh, I don't know.
That's right. Give me a Rise of Nations remaster. I don't know
what that is.
It's a very old strategy game from the 90s. I think that's actually even a Microsoft published game, if I'm not mistaken. But it was fantastic. And then, last but not least, you're going to have the censor button ready right here. Awesome Dave writes in, will we finally get a Bloodborne kart racing game? It's the most spin-off imaginable. It's not getting old. I thought it would.
I hope we get it.
Yeah.
Somebody made a Bloodborne kart racer. I don't know if you ever saw it, Joe.
Yes.
That'd be cool. I think I love two contrasting styles of just like gameplay wise, the very gothic horror nature that Bloodborne is, and just put them on carts and pick up power-ups and whatnot. Like, yeah, I'm down.
Dude, and you know what? That got me thinking, like, with Twisted Metal in the works, you can have styled cars. You can have a Bloodborne cart. You can have your God of War cart. You can have, your Astrobot cart.
Ooh.
Sky's the limit. Or, Kyle, you could have a Sly Cooper cart.
Oh, we could.
Because that's the next story on the list.
Oh, is it? Oh, man. I knew that. Chandler Wood over at PS Lifestyle writes, rumor, Sly Cooper is indeed coming back. No word on if it will be as a PS5 game. Xbox era's Nick Baker, perhaps better known as Special_Nick.
Stop right there. It's 3 weeks in a row, Special Nick. Make a PlayStation podcast. You're going to do all these PlayStation rumors and stuff. I'm sick of it. Xbox era doing PlayStation news.
Yeah. Just come on our show and break the PlayStation stuff.
Well, no, he's in Australia. We'd have to wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
We can do it. We can do it for Nick.
Oh, God. Could we, though? I love sleep.
Yeah, but you know what? We can do it.
It's like the thing I love a little bit more than PlayStation is rest.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Nick, you're on notice. You might be hearing from us.
Yeah. It's kind of like if we made an Xbox show within a PlayStation podcast called The Achievement Hall, a podcast for the higher achievers. We would never do that.
Yeah. No, absolutely never. We would
give us 30 minutes.
Nick Baker, perhaps better known as Special_Nick, has another PlayStation rumor for the pipeline. This one involving the return of yet another of Sony's dormant franchises. According to Baker, who has allegedly heard it from at least two sources, Sly Cooper is, quote, indeed coming back, end quote. He leaves it at that with no additional details or updates, but says that he reconfirmed with his usual source for Sony leaks. Quote, hey, Sly fans, I guess some good news? My quote-unquote normal Sony source was originally told by a newer source, just confirmed to me that Sly is indeed coming back. That's it. That's all. Just an update since many of you still DM me to this day. Interestingly, recent rumors have also pointed to another Sucker Punch franchise making a comeback, Infamous. Baker was the same one who leaked its possible return, but so far Sony hasn't shown anything yet. It's also important to note that Baker does not provide any details on what Sly's return will entail, so even if he is right, it could simply be a line of products on the PlayStation Gear shop. Here's to hoping it's an actual game, which is all we can do until we hear.
Madman Ben writes in, new to the show, would love to hear what you think of the Sly Cooper games and how much you've completed them. Kyle, and I've let this known on the trophy room prior, I'm not a big Sly fan. It was always a series that I wanted to get into as a kid, but between Ratchet, Jack, and Sly, there wasn't enough allowance money to go around. So I picked Ratchet and Jack for my mascot PlayStation 2 games. So I picked Sly Cooper back up during the summer months while everything was slow on PlayStation Now, which is a goddamn great service. All right, it's good. I don't like people just trashing it because it's not as good as Game Pass. That said, I enjoyed my time with Sly 1, but man, has that thing shown its age. Oof. Kyle, what say you? Where's your relationship with Sly?
I love Sly.
Yeah.
I played through 1 and 2 back in the day, and I believe I played through them again on PS3 when there was that collection there. And then I played a little bit of Thieves in Time, the PS Vita version. Never finished it, but like I always enjoy Sly because he moves differently than other platformers.
How so?
Well, he's a thief, so he's sneaky. There's a lot of stealth involved. You have to stay out of the light and find your way around the overworld maps and the levels and pickpocket enemies to get keys and coins, and you have to be strategic about it. It's not just like, of course, there's making impossible jumps and getting to secret places and whatnot, but there's a lot more thought as to you sneaking around the map and making sure you pickpocket the enemies and whatnot, and the dynamic with Murray and I forgot the turtle's name or the hippo's name, one of the others.
Henry, just call him Henry.
Sure, Henry. Yeah. I enjoy their dynamic as well, the team. Sly's great, and I think I think we could have seen this coming because I have a Sly Funko Pop that came out this year. The Sly van was in that weird commercial during the last PlayStation
in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Spoiler.
So like,
how I won't tell you.
He's coming. He's been around. He's making more appearances. So I think they're laying the groundwork there, and as well as Infamous too. Like they completely trolled us during the Spider-Man 2 trailer. The first thing we see is lightning hitting a pole. Come on now.
I don't think Infamous is coming back.
I hope they do.
They got They got Wolverine. They got Spider-Man.
Oh, but the Infamous isn't Insomniac.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like they have like their superhero game, and Infamous was like the closest thing to what Sony had back in the day to a superhero thing. Yeah. Okay, so Sly coming back is exciting for me. I liked how it did turn that formula on its head of like, you know what? No, it's not about just whacking things with a staff, right? There's a little bit of combat here and there, but it's more about evading enemies and being sneaky and avoiding combat, which I really liked. And it really had some great ideas when it came to the platforming elements of that game. And so seeing it come back, or at least rumored to, is exciting. But rumor has it, Kyle, from the rumor mill, that this is not Sucker Punch making it. This is
Bentley and Murray, by the way, it's like it's his buddies' names.
Oh, okay, thank you. But like rumor has it, this is not Sucker Punch. Does that make you a little sad? It doesn't make me not sad, Kyle. I got Ghost of Tsushima.
Not really, because
yeah,
like I don't think Sly needs to be made by Sucker Punch because the Thieves and Pie. Oh, that's a completely different spin-off game.
Yeah.
The Thieves in Time game was made by, I believe, Zanzaru Games. And they did a fine job with it. So like I don't think that is a thing where the main studio that created them has to make the remake kind of thing. Because I think other people understand what Sly is. And we're now at that point where like kids who grew up playing Sly are also now making games. So they understand what a Sly game needs to be.
Yeah, I think we also have to get off the idea that you're right, it has to be, because we say this every week. You're like, well, David Jaffe's not making a Twisted Metal. Well, why does it have to be David Jaffe, right? You know, Cory Barlog isn't making God of War Ragnarok. Why does it have to be Cory, right? So I think we do have to get away from, like, I guess, the prestige of certain people or studios when we're talking about games, because as long as the studio is competent and have that vision, well, then you're going to see that product take off. Now, Famous Seamus writes in, he asks, if the Sly series does come back, what changes would you like to see take advantage for the new generation of consoles? This one's right for you, Kyle, since you are the big Sly fan and I'm just a #fake fan. What would you like to see?
I mean, first and foremost, I think the loading between levels that Ratchet did this year with, not Into the Nexus. Oh my God, Rift Apart.
Rift Apart, yeah.
Whoa, I went back a few years and said the PS3 game. I think that it's a game changer for platformers and going in between levels, so that's huge. And like, I'm a broken record. I'm a simple man. Just make the sneaking around feel good in the DualSense. Yes. I think you could really make. And like, especially with like the pickpock, using the triggers, you have to press it very lightly to kind of pick out the things and whatnot. I think there's a lot of things there you can do with like the DualSense and the sound and whatnot to really push it forward. I don't think you really have to do a whole lot for a platformer of that kind of ilk.
Can I say something that's going to be very controversial?
Go ahead.
This can't be a $70 game.
Why?
Because I think in the same vein of like Crash and Spyro.
Sure.
Those collections did extremely well at $40. But then when you see Crash 4 come out, great game, you loved it, right?
Yeah.
But did not sell because that $60 price point scared off a lot of people. So I think if PlayStation has something like akin to, let's just say they remake, the trilogy, right? Or remaster or whatever. And they're just like, okay, here it is, $50. That's an attractive offer for a lot of people, for me as well.
Yeah, for the trilogy for sure. But I think a full-fledged new entry, I think it's good, well worth full price. I mean, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was full price.
You know what? You're right. As I say that, I'm a big dumb idiot. You know what? I can see it there.
You need to stop being so hard on yourself.
No, you know what I need to do? I need to stop being so hard on platformers.
That's true. That is a thing that I think you share with a lot of people online. You see a cute little platformer, it's like, oh, that's for kids.
Yes.
The bright colors, it's a furry animal jumping around, whatever. That's a kid game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a stereotypical thing that I wish kind of would like wash away.
You're right. You know what? I'm gonna be better.
Yeah, be better.
No, enough with the stigma. I just also think Akina. And that was like a $30 game, 6 hours, a whole lot of fun, platformer. And I'm like, in the same vein, maybe go that route. Maybe it's a smaller experience. Like, to me, I would love to see the PlayStation Studios kind of embrace this idea of like, not every game has to be $70. Some games could be free to play, like that Twisted Metal game. Some games like Kena are AA experiences. They could be $30, $40. Some indie games could be $40, $50 depending on. And then you can have the premium, this is why you come to PlayStation games, like your Last of Us Part 3 or whatever, at your $70. Man. I know, right?
Just hearing that gave me anxiety.
But yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Not just PlayStation, but more developers and publishers do. Explore that scale, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That said, you know what I'd also like to see PlayStation do, and they're doing it?
What?
Introduce some free game trials.
Oh, Andy Robinson over at VGC writes, Sony has introduced free game trials to PlayStation 5. In an email sent to PS5 users on Friday, the platform holder announced that Death Stranding Director's Cut and Sackboy: A Big Adventure can now be downloaded for free and played for several hours. The game trials are available via the PlayStation Store until October 28th, and the time limit begins when players begin their download, so those with faster connections will get more time with the game than others. Death Stranding Director's Cut can be played for 6 hours, and Sackboy: A Big Adventure can be played for 5 hours, according to Sony's marketing. The trials are only applicable to the PS5 versions of the games, and any DLC purchased during the free period will only be usable after expiration if users purchase the full game. Recent patents suggest that Sony may be planning to add PlayStation 5 games to its streaming service, PlayStation Now, which could potentially offer a smoother way for players to trial games in the future.
A lot of people were poo-pooing this idea, and listen, it's not perfect.
So close.
We're getting there.
So close.
Almost to a home run, but it's still a double, and I think that counts for something. I actually really like this idea, but it needs to be ironed out a bit.
The download thing is bad.
It's bad. That doesn't make sense.
That's real bad. Because there are people who me included, downloads take a long time. So you're saying a game will take like an hour and a half to download? Because I know many people with their internet connections, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're saying that's an hour and a half of gameplay that they don't get to play because it's just... I just don't understand how you can't start that clock the moment they boot up the game.
Yeah. It makes me think that the system isn't that smart. And when I mean system, I mean like their online infrastructure isn't that advanced that it can't tell when you boot up a game, which wouldn't make sense.
We got a Y2K situation.
We got a Y2K.
Oh no, the zeros. Oh no.
Oh God, another PSN blackout. So yeah, great analogy. To me, that's the weird thing. It's like once you start the download for real, that's odd. And then the other thing is like this is only available to the end of the month. Yeah. And then it's gone. Will it come back? Like, why isn't it just a forever thing? I don't get it.
Unless they're testing out like an added benefit to PS Plus.
Yeah,
like that repackaged thing with PS Now, maybe PS Plus together, and the same thing with like that TV trial thing in Poland. Like they're testing things out.
Yeah,
to see if people take advantage of it. I
guess so. And I think when it comes to like Death Stranding, that's great. When also I hear the people going, it's just demos. Why are people losing their mind? It's just a demo. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. It's the return of the demos.
Excuse me, person who's saying that. We're still in the middle of a global condition.
Yes.
And a lot of people have their wallets are tighter than usual,
right.
Especially because unemployment has ended for many, including myself.
Are you talking about yourself there, Kyle?
Yes, certainly am. So it would be great if a lot of these games I have an option to try it out and see if I want to scrounge up old games and trade them in order to get the full thing. Like, this is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's just not implemented the best way, and the best way you can let them know is by just saying, hey, this could be a little better, right? And the one thing that I do like is like, yeah, some games have longer trials because they're bigger games, and some games have shorter trials because they're not big experiences. It's the one problem with Steam. The Steam refund is like, I think, 2 hours if you don't like a game? It hurts a lot of indies out because A, a lot of indies are weird, and 2, a lot of indies are short. So like you'll play half or maybe even most of the game and you return the game. That hurts the indie developer's wallet. Yeah. So having this system here, at least to test it, is awesome. And I do consider this a little bit of a beta. So I wanted to throw this out there because I really genuinely think this is an awesome idea. And I do think the evolution of it is throwing this on PlayStation Now.
Yeah, and yeah, for sure. And I think, I don't know if it's in the Flash news or whatnot, but like PS Now has got some really gigantic games that were added. Last of Us Part 2, like the headliner there. So they are adding bigger and better titles.
Yeah.
And so they are beefing it up. I don't know if that title is downloadable or not, or if Last of Us is streaming only.
We get to that when we prepare the drop for sure.
Oh, okay. So like they are adding more to that service, and I can see this being as a way of tying it all together, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, and again, you're starting to see them being not forthcoming, but trying to build up the PlayStation Now service in more genuine ways, and I really dig it. So again, if this is that step to do something rad like putting this on PlayStation Now, go for it. I love it. Yeah. You know what's not rad though? Taking the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores down, then bringing them back up just to kill how you actually purchase games on the PS3 and Vita store.
Oh man,
just kill the stores.
King of the segues tonight, Joe. Let me tell you.
Oh.
Kat Bailey over at IGN writes, PS3 and Vita PlayStation stores will soon drop support for credit cards and PayPal. Earlier this year, Sony's apparent decision to close the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores caused a furor among fans. Sony eventually reversed course, but it will soon be very difficult to purchase new games from the stores regardless. As spotted by Kotaku, buried on a PlayStation support page is a notice that the PlayStation Store on Vita and PS3 will soon no longer accept credit card or PayPal. That won't make the library completely inaccessible. It will still be possible to load up your wallet through devices like a desktop PC, but it will make it considerably more inconvenient. In order to purchase PS3 or Vita games on the PlayStation Store, you'll need to either purchase a gift card or use the wallet system via Sony's website. You can also use any funds that you add via your PS4 or PS5. Even now, it's not the easier task in the world to access the PlayStation Store on a Vita. If you have two-factor authentication enabled, you will have to go through a separate song and dance just to log in.
Oh my God, just kill it.
Going out of business. Everything's on sale.
Just pull the plug on Nana. It's over. Game over for the PlayStation 3 and Vita. And my grandma, apparently. Listen, Kyle. What is this? What do you think this is?
I'm shocked that they even gave us this few months of extra time. I think they could have been, we'll keep them open, and then 2 weeks later, you know what? Nah, we're closing it. We gave you an extra 2 weeks to get what you get. It stinks, but like this is a thing that we said was going to come.
Yep.
Like they weren't going to keep them open forever, and this isn't them just closing down. They're just making it harder and harder. So there's two things. One, it's making it harder for people to buy games.
Yes.
Also, two, and I think you said this last night after we wrapped our Far Cry 6 review thing. Mm-hmm. This tells us that Sony is not comfortable with the security of these sites.
Right.
And being able to hold their information, store your information safely on the Vita and PS3 side of things. So on those servers.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we have to understand. And I think today of all days, as of recording, Twitch was the source code of Twitch was leaked out on 4chan. Okay. Yeah. And they told us, what was the guy's name? Mike was going to handle all the bad stuff. And it leaked out anyway. Shout out to THQ. Mike. Yeah, shout out. So, okay. That's definitely what this is.
Oh, Mark. It was Mark.
It was Mark. Mark was going to handle the bad stuff, and he dropped the ball today. And PlayStation doesn't want their Mark to drop the ball because you have now fewer and fewer engineers working on the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores, which means hackers are going to be able to find vulnerabilities in those stores easier, which means the credit cards that are tied to those accounts are, then in jeopardy. So as much as this is an inconvenience, which Cloudside writes in with the PS3 and Vita stores closing, soon losing credit card and PayPal support, how much of an inconvenience do you think it is? A major one for the few people that are still buying games on those stores. But to me, it's like, think of the inconvenience if someone hacks your servers. You don't want another blackout situation. And honestly, in this day and age, it's inevitable. So you want to make sure it's as hard as possible. So that judgment day is later on the clock, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it's a gigantic inconvenience.
Yeah.
Because there are still many ways to get to their store and buy the things. Like in here, it says you could also use any funds you add via your PS4 or PS5. So like, go get a digital code at a store, at GameStop or wherever, and then put those funds on your PS5 account. And then you can use those same funds as long as they're the same account on PS3 and Vita. So like,
exactly. I
think that's a lot of people's thing anyway, is what they do. That's kind of what I do. I usually stick to getting those cards and putting funds on my account, whatnot.
I don't. I'm rolling with the dice. I turn my PlayStation 5 on sleep.
I learned my lesson. As you can tell in the video, I don't know if it's in the shot. I have been trusting rest mode on my PS5.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think, yes, it's a bummer, but it is an extra step, but it's not the end of the world yet.
And again, how many people are using that store? And I get it. There's still people that are using the PS3 and Vita stores, but few and far between.
I honestly think when that news came out that they were shutting down, the people that were going to use it bought everything up within that week.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people like, I just paid $200 for all these old Vita games. So
yeah,
listen, it's lousy, but I do see the reasoning behind it, and I think you're seeing what you're seeing as well on the background is PlayStation unifying the one storefront that truly matters now to them, which is the PS4 and PS5 storefront, and having them, sewn up together. And having one giant ecosystem there so that they can throw all their effort into, protection and development for that storefront. So yeah, it sucks. It's weird. It's Sony being weird, but I don't think this is the end of the world. But Kyle, talking about things that have died and resurrected once again, the next story on the list is a doozy.
Andy Robinson over at VGC writes, Konami is set to revive Metal Gear, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. Following a restructure to the company's game development divisions earlier this year, Konami is now focused on bringing back its biggest brands to the premium game space, VGC was told. The first of these titles will be a new Castlevania game, which sources described as a, quote, reimagining, unquote, of the series currently in development internally at Konami in Japan, with support from local external studios. There's been much speculation that Demon Souls studio Bluepoint could be working on a remake of Metal Gear Solid. However, VGC was told the series is actually being worked on by an external studio, Virtuous. Established in 2004, Virtuous is one of the largest game developers in the world and focuses on supporting the development of major AAA games or bringing existing games to new platforms. The new project is currently in early development, and multiple sources suggest it would be centered around fan favorite entry Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, rather than the original MGS. Konami also intends to release remasters of the original Metal Gear Solid games for modern consoles.
Boy, oh boy, Kyle. This question comes from the 85 Marauder that writes in asking, there are rumblings that Konami are starting developments of their big IPs, Metal Gear, Castlevania, Silent Hill. If it turns out to be true, are there any that you're looking forward to? Personally, I would really hope for a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, which apparently, if the rumors are right, that support studio is making. So, Kyle, what do you make of all this news, and what do you make of what would you like to see out of this development?
Looking past that, it's Konami.
Okay.
Because
they're the devil.
Screw Konami.
Yeah, did you see the first off, before we get excited that these games are coming back, did you see the eFootball launch and how cataclysmic?
No, I did not.
Dude, look at some screenshots.
Oh, okay.
There was one person that was like one AI that was literally embedded into the ground.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was bad. Some of the facial animations are like, it's like, I don't know, what's the guy, Messi, was just like turning into a vampire mid soccer match. It was, yeah.
No good. Mm-mm. Yeah, so besides the fact that it is Konami, I think it's super cool that these IPs are apparently coming back. Mm-hmm. They are staples in just the video game community as a whole, as franchises. So it's cool that they are no longer abandoned and gathering dust. I hope that they turn out to be good. Out of those three, don't have the history with Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Don't have the history with Castlevania really, or Silent Hill, but I would play any of them.
Oh, okay.
I'm open to playing any of them. Silent Hill, I'm becoming more of a spooky boy this year. Castlevania, I always dug. Yeah. I love Castlevania. Just haven't played a lot of them. I've played like the old school NES ones. Mm-hmm. And Metal Gear, I've always been intrigued. I actually tried 3 Snake Eater.
Yeah.
Did not dig it.
I was 12 when I got that game. I was like, what is this? And
too much.
Yeah.
It was like too many mechanics, and I had to worry about eating and keeping my hunger up, and I was young. I was like, not fun. I don't think this is fun.
I would like to see Castlevania the most out of all these. Everybody tells me, Joe, you love Bloodborne, you're going to love Castlevania. Yes. Joe, you need to go play Castlevania. Joe, this, that. I get it, and I will when things die down again.
Yeah, you better buy those collections.
I hear the collections are fantastic. So I'm going to give it a go, and I would like to see what like a reimagining of Castlevania would look like. Can
I tell you which one to start with?
Yeah, please.
Symphony of the Night.
That's what everybody says.
That's the one.
Right? That everybody says that's the best one.
That's the one.
What's Rondo of Blood? Is that the other one that's like really good?
That's one I have not played. Okay. But I know there is that double collection with the two of them.
Here's the thing, Kyle. I don't trust Konami, and honestly, I would just want them to sell off the IP.
Absolutely.
I don't trust them as a developer or a publisher. And I think this esports or eFootball thing is definitely a sign of like their heart isn't in it. Their heart's in the money. And I think there has to be, when it comes to making games, there has to be a balance between checkbook and vision. And I think Konami is literally all about the checkbook. And that's why the game's so hit.
Yeah, we saw that with Metal Gear Survive.
Exactly.
That was clearly just hey, we're going to put Metal Gear on this title and people are going to buy it. And that game, from everything I've seen, was hot garbage.
Dog turd, yes.
It was not great at all.
So yeah, that's what I want to see. Because like Metal Gear is like cool, but it's kind of like that Miyazaki situation, right? It's Kojima is Metal Gear. Miyazaki is From Software to me. Or, he is Souls. He is
Agreed.
Bloodborne. So, like, you can't have Metal Gear without Kojima. And we've tried it, and it's weird. So, like, Castlevania, maybe you could take that to another studio. Silent Hill, what is abandoned? If it ain't Silent Hill, what is it? Really, what is it? And how could you drop the ball this hard? But, like, those two IP, I think, are less synonymous with their creators, so they have the liberty of not being prejudged. Because with Metal Gear, again, listen, as bad as Survive was, it was dead out the gate because Kojima was not attached to it. People prejudged the crap out of it.
And I think that's one of the strongest contenders of when we say, show them with your wallet. I think that game is a very strong contender of showing what that actually looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, Konami. What a mess. Listen, it's time for Flash News, and there is only one bit of Flash News to get into it. There is a new Aloy statue. This comes from IGN. The Aloy statue was sculpted by Pure Arts, whose video game resume includes Assassin's Creed, Dark Souls, and Cyberpunk 2077. The statue is casted in polyresin and designed by a 1:6 scale, measured roughly to 11 inches tall and 10 inches wide. Here's Dark Horse's official description of this Aloy statue. Wielding her iconic hunter bow and spear, Aloy is ready to restore order and balance to the universe. I'm sorry, I had to galaxy, whatever. I ruined it. To the world. With every care and consideration put into the smallest detail, you can feel the movement, the flow of her hair and cloth down to the impending strike of her spear. Really don't know where that sentence was ending, and thank God it ended where it did. Aloy is a limited 2,000 piece set and will be sold exclusively through Dark Horse's direct website. It is priced at $399.99 and expected to ship between July and September of 2022.
And my address is P.O. Box.
Oh, Kyle, you're the funny one tonight. I love it. Listen, this statue looks dope.
Oh, it is drop dead gorgeous. It is one of the best video game statues I have ever seen. It captures Aloy perfectly.
It is a bit of a bummer that it's not that big, though. It's like less than a ruler.
But I mean, that's still pretty big.
Fair. Looks dope.
Looks
touching
amazing.
Detail. Like the one thing I told you was like her pants, like the leather, like you see it embroidered. Like it's nuts. Seeing also like the scarf thing that she's wearing, like all the fur. It's nuts. Attention to detail is insane. Yeah. My address is 6.
Dark Horse. Hit us up. Let's do an unboxing. We each gotta get one.
That's right.
So there'll only be 1998
yeah.
pieces available. 1,998.
Think about
just
it.
Saying. Hey.
Balls in your court.
Hey, I'll look great on my Aloy shelf back there. I'm just saying.
Look at, she's behind me. You just can't see her. Just trust me. Okay. Kyle, are you holding on to something?
Yes.
Prepare the drop. Here are the latest steals and deals coming to the PlayStation storefront and beyond. Last of Us Part 2 comes to PlayStation Now. You can, apparently, it's on the PlayStation blog. It's not download only. You can download it. PlayStation 5 owners who download the game onto their console can also download the PlayStation 5 Performance Patch. So, You can stream the PlayStation 4 version if you wanted to, or download it and get the PlayStation 5 benefits.
That's kind of big.
That's very big. Fallout 76. I think that's very big as well, because Fallout, now Microsoft property, still playing nice. Interesting. Nothing more, nothing less to that, because I'll make Fallout 76 fans upset. Amnesia, the collection on PlayStation 4. Desperados 3. And then, Kyle, this one's for you, buddy. Final Fantasy 8 Remastered.
You mean this beautiful boy that I bought physically? Oh, greatest Final Fantasy of all time.
Ooh, there's going to be 3 people that are upset at you. I'll just smile and nod. Kyle, Victor Van Overkill Edition. I think let me read the description.
I know what this is. Yeah.
Battle demons in an isometric RPG using loot and different weapon types, from revolvers to guitars, to build your preferred combat style and forge your own hero. And if you'd prefer not to go it alone, the game offers 4-player online or 2-player co-op. There's also whole worlds to explore and fight your way through that are inspired by legendary band Motorhead, with Lemmy and Co. also lending a few of their tracks to the game's soundtrack. That PR person guessed the end of that paragraph. All right. Yet another Zombie Defense HD. That's coming to PlayStation now, and the games hitting the PlayStation storefront are as follows. This week, Ham Puzz on PlayStation 4.
Ham what? Ham what?
Ham Puzz.
I gotta look this up. Ham Puzz?
It doesn't sound great.
What is Ham Puzz?
It sounds gross. It sounds gross to me. Probe, a game dev experience on PlayStation VR. Ooh, that's cool. You got Agatha Christie. The first case is on PlayStation 4. Alan Wake Remastered, which we'll get to in just a second, on PS5 and PS4. BPM, Bullets Per Minute, on PlayStation 4. I've heard about that game. Hell Let Loose on PlayStation 5. Jet the Far Shore on PS5. Nickelodeon's All-Star Brawl on PS5, PS4. I'm wondering to see how that did, now that Sora's in Smash Brothers and God doesn't exist, because if God was real, Sora would not be in Smash. The Master Chief or Ratchet and Clank would be. But I digress. God abandoned us years ago. Puzzle Bobble 3D Vacation Odyssey on PS5 and PS4. Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan on PS4. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania on PS5, PS4. Art of Rally on PS5, PS4. This came to Xbox a few months ago. Beautiful little game. That said, Night Squad on PS4, Tangle Tower on PlayStation 4, and on October 7th, Far Cry 6 on PS5 and PS4. Kyle, did you find out what was the game called?
Are you saying Ham, H-A-M?
And that one word, Hampuzz.
I don't know.
Maybe this mystery is better.
I'll keep searching because of wait, Ham Puzz.
Oh, I got it. It's like Hamtaro looking thing. I only have one little photo. Looks like a puzzle. It looks like a cheap
sense.
platinum. You'd love the shit out of it, Kyle. $6.50. Tell us how it is, guys. Don't really. Kyle, with that, it's What You've Been Playing, one of our favorite segments before we get into all the questions. How we're going to roll out this one is we've done a in-depth review of Far Cry 6. It's on separately on YouTube, the video version, if you want to see the gameplay. But guess what? I suck at the game, but nonetheless, go check it out if you're interested. We're actually going to put the audio version of that review up right now, and it's a really awesome in-depth review. So let's go for it. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and await no longer. Here is the Trophy Room's Far Cry 6 review discussion. I am your host, Joseph. Alongside me, the greatest co-host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to learn all about Far Cry 6.
I'm very excited to talk about Far Cry 6. But before we get into it, I just want to let the video audience know that what you're seeing on screen is all the early hours of the game, along with the Ubisoft footage that they've shown through all the teasers and stuff. So there is no spoilers here. It is very much a spoiler-free discussion. And with that, Ubisoft has given us a code for the game. So take anything what I say with a grain of salt. With that, Kyle, let's get into it, because Far Cry 6 has a lot to do after coming off of what was Far Cry 5, which is a very divisive title in the series.
And on that note, I just want, since you played the game, I have not yet. Yeah. So I'll be asking some questions as you talk about it. Absolutely. My biggest issue when Far Cry 5 came out is I didn't dig the what was it? The Joseph Fares? No, Joseph Fares is the game director. Why can't I think of their names?
Just call him Priest Joseph.
Sure. The cult leaders. Yeah. I didn't dig that story fully.
Sure.
It was a beautiful world and whatnot, but nothing about that story wanted me to keep going. Yeah. How does Far Cry 6 fix those things with 5? Or if they don't, just is the story worth experiencing all of Yara for?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Thank God.
So. Whereas like Father Joseph, a very forgettable character, I can't even remember his name too. I did not like him as a villain.
Joseph Seed.
Joseph Seed. There you go. Look at that. Angry comments out of here. Joseph Seed, I did not like him as a villain. I did not like his cult like sub bosses. I thought they were trying to be way too cartoony, way too animated, and they just lost me there. I didn't like the story, and I didn't like where it ended. With Far Cry 6, this is, I think, the best cast that they've have in this series. Like, awesome. Let's start here. The story is, this is a fictional country of Yara. Let's just say it's Cuba, though. That's what they're really going after here. In the middle of a revolution, they're fighting a fascist dictator by the name of Anton Castillo. He is played by Giancarlo Esposito. And Kyle, why did Ubisoft show so much of him? Like, we needed to be convinced that Giancarlo Esposito can act. He is phenomenal in this role. Goodness. He chews up every single scene he's in, and you could legitimately tell he's having a great time.
So that's another question I had, where a lot of Far Cry villains, you see them very early on in the game, and then you hear them talk to you throughout it, but they're pretty much sight unseen. Is Anton more...
He's more involved.
He's more present. That's great.
And the thing that they do, the sub-bosses, some people may not like this, I kind of like it, is the sub-bosses, the generals that you face, don't have much of a personality, because they're really the fuel to Anton. They're really there to showcase how crazy Anton is. And to be honest with you, Anton and Voss, two actors playing them in the Breaking Bad universe, two of the best villains in the Far Cry series, hands down. Because if Voss is like the Far Cry Joker, Anton is Lex Luthor. He is a mastermind. He is ruthless. He is cunning, and he has this power, and he's going to do whatever it takes to keep it. And what makes his character so awesome is actually the protagonist, Danny Rojas, which I played the female version, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but Nisa Gundez, she kills this role. This is for the first time in a Far Cry game that we actually care about the protagonist, because she's just so lively. She has so many, I guess, layers to her that you really want to see where she goes in this story. And the cast that surrounds her is also diverse, and they're not caricatures of Cuban people. They're very much, yes, it's Far Cry. Like, this is take it as it is. This is Fast and the Furious for the most part in terms of story, but they do a really great job at respecting the culture that is the Hispanic culture that they're trying to emulate here in Yara. So everybody does just such a stellar job, Kyle.
Which is very good to hear. When it comes to Danny as a character, most Far Cry characters that you play as, I think of Jason Brody, pretty much faceless.
Yeah.
And you first person the entire time. I believe what in Far Cry 6 they changed it to like cutscenes are now in third person, I guess, where you can actually see Danny and interact. Does that help with the story and help getting more involved and immersed in what's going on?
Yes, it makes the character way less one-dimensional. And you can actually see the emotions that Danny's going through. So yeah, it helps 110%. I love the story. It's the reason why I keep going into each level, why I keep exploring each area, is the story keeps driving me there. That said,
minor thing.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
How is Best Boy Chorizo? Is he worth it?
We'll get into that in a bit.
Okay.
We'll wait on Baby Chorizo. That's for sure. Okay. There are technically 5 areas. I'm not going to call them biomes because they're absolutely not that. This is the temperament or the climate that you would expect a Caribbean nation to be. So it's mostly jungle. But what they have there is like, yeah, you have the thick of the jungles. You have the farmlands, the plains, the mountains, the arid regions, which I actually hone into like kind of in Spain or that of like Texas, arid environments. This game is beautiful. The map is huge, sprawling. There's a lot to do here. But the one thing that I really love is how natural everything kind of flows into each area. It does feel like an actual place on the map. And when it comes to the villages and even the cities, it's so colorful. It's kind of like what we look at when we see Cuba, the colorful like houses, the colorful doors, like all that is there and it's present here. And this map is huge. There's so much to do that it literally fills a page of notes. So that
was my next question. Like exploring the map, seeing everything, it's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Is it fun to explore the map? Like, what are you doing?
Yes, and they give you reasons to explore it. So this is a Far Cry game, so you're clearing out bases, you're ambushing patrols, you're clearing checkpoints, you're doing actual treasure hunts, and then you're doing actual hunts, like hunting animals. You do have the climbing some towers. There is some climbing here.
Yeah, okay.
But
sounds Far Cry so far.
But the traversal is really cool. So you can actually like zip line to mountain or take a helicopter or like squirrel suit along the map. Like the way you could traverse is it's so great. Like you can literally drop in a squirrel suit in a checkpoint and just fly around if you want to, or just spawn on the ground. There's a lot to do. There is co-op in this game. Sadly, I did not get to partake because I didn't have anybody to play with me. And there's also races. Everything is varied. There's a lot to do. Even some side quests. There's a lot in this game. So you could get lost in it.
So far, that does sound like an Ubisoft game, and that does sound like what pretty much all the other Far Cry's have.
Yeah.
Where you're hunting animals for pelts, and I assume those pelts upgrade your pouches and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why you want to explore is you get upgrades to guns, or just straight up you discover new weapons and like unique weapons that have cool designs to them by just exploring the world and clearing bases. So there's always something to do and a reason to do it.
Another reason to do those things in past games, I think of like 3 first and foremost. Mm-hmm. You unlock skill points that help with things. Is there another skill point system here for upgrades?
No. So
there's not. Okay.
Yeah, so they do upgrades differently here. At least from what I've experienced, it maybe I'd done it completely wrong, but it's all in the weapons that you get to really mod out. So the one cool thing that they took the essence of like what we envision Cuba is we see these 50s cars running around, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all modded. They're all 50 years old, but they somehow work, you know? They do that with the weapons here as well. And it doesn't feel like you're throwing garbage on your AK-47 and it looks dumb now. It actually looks makeshift, but it makes it look distinct. How many games are you going to get an ACOG scope on your AK-47 and it looks military and, you know, standardized? This looks completely custom. And when you get into the modding of each weapon, you actually have like fire ammo that just comes stock if you want to mod your weapon with fire ammo or poison ammo or ammo that rips armor off of enemies or does bonus damage to people with helmets or does bonus damage to soft targets without big armor. So it gives you a reason to mix and match guns as you're going into battle or really plan out how you want to play. And on top of that, Kyle, when it comes to modding your weapons with like suppressors, this is really cool. And I love that more games are moving away from suppressors make your gun silent forever. You get a couple of shots with each gun, and then your gun starts actually popping. The suppressor itself somehow, with the magic of video games, overheats. So you can't just go guns blazing and be completely SEAL Team 6. You actually have to be smart in how you're working the map. That being said, you could play this game however you want to play it. So if you want to go guns blazing, you could trick out your weapon to make it fit your play style. You can play the way you want. And the thing that they've added, Kyle, is things called Supremos, which are just ultimates in Destiny. I found the one that works with me and I got from the beginning of the game. It's pretty much a mortar fire that tracks enemies. Yeah. A lot of fun. It's very much to me like the panic button of like, I'm about to die. Something needs to happen here. But you could get like Supremos that like heal you, that puts you in stealth, all that type of stuff.
Speaking of stealth, because that's man, you're going straight into my questions. It's
Go for
brilliant. One of my favorite things to do in Far Cry is actually stealthing around and picking people off with like a crossbow or a regular bow and arrow. And the enemy detection has not been the greatest in past games. Is it still a little wonky?
Oh yeah, AI are real dumb. Okay. They're big dumb idiots.
But is there a good bow? Is there a good silent option?
Yes. Silencers and suppressors, to me, that's the way I've been doing it.
Okay.
So like I got like a M16 or no, an M14 silence with an ACOG scope, and that's how I've been maneuvering the game for the most part. I have a Beretta that's also silenced. And then I have like my panic gun, which is like this big giant AK-47 that I use.
Sweet.
The other thing that they also do is, and let me make sure I get the word right here. They are called, put this one as there you go. Resolver weapons, which are just completely makeshift. These are like, here's a minigun that you have to rev up because the engine is literally an engine from a motorcycle. You have the Macarena weapon. You have this this dumb looking mortar gun that looks like something out of like Roadhog's weapon in Overwatch. These resolver weapons are really fun. My favorite one is there's actually like a shotgun revolver with a shield. So I could just go into like a building and just take bullets with the shield and just pop people with the pistol.
I like that.
Yeah, combat in this game is
Are those
stellar.
like those unique weapons when you're going around the map, you'll find them and then they become yours?
No, you're actually crafting these weapons as well. Okay. Everything revolves around the workbench. Great. Thank you for picking that up. Everything revolves around the workbench. And speaking of workbench, there's also base building, which if you blink, it's there.
Something real quick before we go to base building, since we're talking about the guns.
Go for it, please.
You played it on PS5?
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask.
Oh, I know what you're going to ask.
Haptics, adaptive triggers. How's it feel?
This is the best haptics in a AAA third-party game.
Sweet.
Most weapons feel different in terms of like subcategories. The haptics are fantastic. The adaptive triggers are fantastic in this game. That's literally what I was doing before we were recording, making sure that every gun felt different. For the most part, a lot of them do. It's very varied in the haptics. So that's
fantastic.
It's great.
All right. So what about the space building?
Okay. It's there. It exists.
Okay.
Please stop putting this in your game, Ubisoft.
Is it better than Fallout 4?
Yes, because each, pretty much you have 3 main bases and you can only put 2 things in each base. So you're not constantly overwhelmed and you're not really worried about the upkeep. There are some missions where it's like send banditos to do missions for you to get currency. I hate that too. Please, Ubisoft, get rid of that. I don't like it. I don't like this time management thing. Please, no. There's also mini games, dominoes, which I'll rock at, and cockfighting, which is a take on Pokemon, if you're into that. Me, not a big fan of cockfighting, so I never I never delved into it.
That's fair.
In real life and just in video games. You all know how I feel about animals, damn it.
I hope in real life you haven't delved into cockfighting.
Well, from time to time, you're curious. I do want to mention cars and vehicles. So, like, the makeshift nature of the weapons also goes into the cars. And the ATVs, the helicopters, the little, like, hovercraft, jet skis, all of which feel great. But it's Far Cry. So, it's like you're...
Most Ubisoft games, if I'm not, like... If I'm off-brand here, please come at me.
Go for it.
Driving isn't great in Ubisoft games.
From
the first Watch Dogs game to all the Far Cry games, the vehicles feel floaty and they don't feel great. Like, is it the same thing?
They feel like legit. You're playing the intro of Naked Gun. Like, that's what it really feels like when you're driving a car.
Yeah,
and it remains true. These things handle ungodly well for being like 70-year-old vehicles, but they are there if you're interested in them. It's never been a thing for me in Far Cry.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not leastly, let's talk about Amigos, the last major thing that you touched on. Little baby chorizo.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like they missed something here. Because the AI is so dumb, I don't need my Amigos. My little pets that I could send to attack people. You get an alligator at first, and then I got Chorizo, which shoots rockets at people. And he's adorable and everything. And you could pet him and tell him he's a good boy. A little baby boy. He's a little peanut. But other than that, you can't. There's no use. Also, and this is going to sound inhumane and harsh, but little Chorizo has a little wheelchair, and it's cute as all hell. But it adds a rickety noise that squeaks in my ear, and I find it irritating. It's a little pet peeve, but just throwing it out there.
All right.
Last but not leastly, I do want to talk about sounds and the music. Every weapon sounds amazing. The cars sound great. Again, the voice actors sound terrific. The music feels and sounds authentic to the area. I can't reiterate this enough. I love the salsa music that they have, and then they have more contemporary stuff that I don't like, but like hearing like things that are reminiscent to like the Gypsy Kings on the radio brings me back to like my house every Sunday. So I really do like what Ubisoft went here, and they really approached everything with care. Did they get it right 100% of the time? No, but I'll end with this, Kyle. This game is the best Far Cry game I've played, period. And I think it does have to do with an area that I know. And again, they may not handle every character correctly or PC, but you can see that there's a legitimate effort in, and I reward them for that. So that said, Kyle, we don't usually rate things on this show.
No,
we just say recommend or highly
before we rate things.
Yeah.
Before we started, you're like, Kyle,
yes,
make sure I talk about a specific gun. And before we rate it, I need you to talk about the Naked Gun. What is this all about?
No. Naked Gun's the movie. That was the car reference.
I thought you were talking about there was a gun that was called the Naked Gun.
But you need culture, my friend. You need to watch the Leslie Nielsen movies.
I love Naked Gun. What are you talking about?
Good. The Macarena gun. There's a little attention to detail here. When you hold it down, the music does play. Like all the way. And if you shoot it, it'll begin where it left off with the next disc.
I wonder, I don't know if you tried this with that gun, but like if you stealth and hold it down, will the music attract the enemies?
No.
Okay.
So you won't hear it when you're hip fire, but you will hear it when you zoom and aim down sights. So it actually does a really terrific thing with that 3D audio of actually you'll hear it and it's close up. It's nice. Makes you feel nice. Right. Now, Kyle, again, we usually don't rate stuff on this show, but I thought while recording this is a PlayStation show. So do I recommend it? Yes. Is it a bronze, silver, gold, or platinum game? I'm gonna hit it with a gold. I say this is worth your money at launch. Go ahead, get it. It's great. I really enjoyed my time with it.
What keeps it from that platinum?
You know what? Great question. There's something with Ubisoft games that I love, but I never go, oh yeah, that's my game of the year. Like I'm playing this, I'm like, I'm loving this, but I don't know if this is above Deathloop for me. I think I think maybe a coat of polish that isn't there that breaks me out of it. But yeah, this is a really great time, and I do advise everybody to go out there and purchase it. It's great.
Amazing.
Especially if you're on PS5. It's fantastic.
I'm so excited. I got my gold edition fully pre-ordered and ready. Man, I'm excited that it hits and you loved it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just fingers are crossed that I also enjoy the game, in addition that they hit the DLC with the villains just as well as they do the main game, because that I think could be something pretty special.
Absolutely. With that said, that's been the Trophy Room Reviews Far Cry 6. If you like this video, please hit like, share, subscribe. It helps us out. It grows this little channel. And if you liked our lovely conversation, we do this each and every Thursday, but we talk about PlayStation instead. All your weekly PlayStation news right here on the Trophy Room, wherever you get your podcasts. And so with all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody, keep hunting, keep your wits about you, and keep playing PlayStation. Wow, Kyle, that was Far Cry 6. Isn't that something?
That was, man, sounds great.
It's like we recorded that last night.
Whoa!
Oh, I'm dying. Now, I want to know about Alan Wake.
Yeah, before I get into Alan Wake, I want to talk about a couple other things really quickly.
Okay.
I did get a code for Jet the Far Shore.
Okay. How is that? I'm hearing really mixed things, Kyle.
I was so bummed while I was playing it, and that code was provided by Pop Agenda over at 6-1. That's how I got the code. It has a lot of things going for it.
Yeah,
I dig the art style. I think the music and the soundtrack is gorgeous. It's really, really good. The issue I have with it, though, is it's not like a game that has a made-up language and you just read the words. They're actually speaking to you in a gibberish language.
Like Simlish?
A little bit.
What is this game even of? Because I just see you flying around with this little...
So that's the thing. You're looking for a new planet to bring civilization to.
Okay.
So the very first level is you saying goodbye to your family, and you journey along, you learn the mechanics, and you are shot into space. The atmosphere and everything is really cool. It's just the moment-to-moment gameplay is just not there for me, and it's very frustrating. Which is a bummer. Did not get back to it since that opening hour or two, just because it just...
Oh, really?
I couldn't just play it just because of the music. I couldn't just like... And the cool thing that it does do with it, as well as every new section, it says how long it will take to complete it. So, like, in case you're wondering if you're the person out there that plays games and has like a time crunch or whatever, it will straight up just tell you like this next thing is going to take you 2 hours. Okay. So that is kind of cool, and I do appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, it's just not my jam. Some people out there are going to absolutely love that game. But yeah, just wasn't for me.
It sounds like an Interstellar.
Yeah, it's like No Man's Sky versus across Interstellar in a way.
Fair enough.
The other game I want to really quickly talk about is a game called Unmetal. I had loved this reveal during the E3, one of the indie game showcases. It is a satirical love letter to the Metal Gear series, and it plays and looks like the old school NES version of these games. Ooh. And the game is so self-aware and it's so funny. It's a blast playing it. So, like, for example, I put it on Twitter, one of the clips. I was going to this boss, and this whole story is told as you are being interrogated by your colonel or your higher in rank of person above you. And as you're telling the story is what happens on screen. So he's asking me, so what happened to this guy? And your character says, he was on the other side of the courtyard, and there was a ditch. And then on the screen, a ditch forms, and the ditch had flaming spears and bloody spears. It had tentacles and bloody bones, and they just start popping up out of the ground. And then the colonel goes, "Really?" He goes, no, never mind. I won't put that in the report. And then they disappear from the screen. So it's very much like breaking the fourth wall. There's another moment where you're trying to sneak by a guard, and as you're sneaking up, a cat runs out of a garbage can, and the guard goes, oh, what's that? Oh, just a stupid cat. And then as you're walking, the garbage can rattles and goes, what's that? And you can choose what to say. And I chose, I'm a cat. And so you go, meow, in a human voice. And the guard goes, wait a second. It comes in like so it's very, very funny. And in the moment, another really cool quick one is, it's like old school NES games where there's like fire coming out of the ground and you have to wait for it to go down to pass through it safely or whatever. I make it all the way to the other side. And as I make it to the other side, it breaks to the interrogation room. And he goes, why didn't you use that thermal suit that would protect you from all the fire that you just picked up in the game? And the you as the character goes, oh man, whoever is playing is real dumb. I wish I would have known that. And so I'm like, oh, duh. And then like it's very Deadpool-esque where it's breaking the fourth wall and stuff. Some of the humor is a little
hit or miss,
not great. Like there's a lot of jokes and comments about the doctor in the game about how hot she is. Okay. Which is whatever, but it does fit the tone of what they were going for, but it's still a little icky. Game is great. If you love the old school Metal Gear games, you love Metal Gear at all, please go buy this game and play it. It is 100% well worth your time.
All right. Dope. Yeah. Now, Kyle.
The big guns.
Let's get to Alan Wake. All right. You teased me too much.
Sorry. Another
provided
game
by Remedy.
By Remedy. Yeah. Thank you, Remedy. Thank you. It means the world to me.
It's cool that I didn't get one.
You got Far Cry. Alan Wake is a series that I did not experience because it was back on Xbox. Yeah. I played the original Alan Wake on stream briefly last year. And had a good time with it, but it was very clearly showed its age. The remaster is terrific. Yeah? It's really good.
Because to new audience members, you fell in love with Remedy with Control.
With Control, yes. Yeah. Fell in love hard. One of my favorite games of all time, Control is. So yeah, this remaster is excellent. While it still does feel like a 360 game at times, the sound is incredible. Nice. I don't wear headphones because I'm a big baby, and a lot of the enemies, who I believe are called the Taken, which are like the shadowy enemies that you see in all the promotional materials and whatnot, they will pop up from anywhere and come after you. And a lot of times it'll slow down and show you where they're coming from. A lot of times they don't. You just turn around and there's two rushing at you with an axe. And
so how do you fight them? Because like Control is all about like levitating, using these cool powers. And all I do see is like Alan Wake with a flashlight running around.
Do you not know how it works?
No, not even a little bit.
So I guess for the basis of the story, Alan Wake, you're a writer. Yeah. You wake up in this town, you're going to Bright Falls with your wife as like a getaway or vacation, or at least that's what Alan thought it was. And you're having these nightmares. And at one point, your wife gets taken or goes missing. And you wake up in a car crash. And as you're going, you are reliving the events of the books that you have written. Ooh. Or like we're about to write, like just thoughts in your head, and you're finding manuscripts of what's happening in the story as you're going through and talking about what's about to happen. And this thing, which I don't know what it is yet, maybe it's just the narrator of the story, is telling you how things work. And the Taken, the shadowy figures, don't like the light. Okay. So you go into the light to heal yourself, as well as using your flashlight to shine on the enemies to break the darkness. Okay. And once you break the darkness, there's a little circle that closes as you concentrate on it. Once it's broken, then you can shoot it with guns and take them out. Yeah, I like guns. They won't be allowed to be touched until the shadow is gone, like the darkness is gone. So you have to be aware of your batteries, because you do have to replace the batteries in the flashlight. Reloading is fairly easy. It's just a button. You can rapidly tap the button to reload faster. I played through the first episode and a little bit of the second episode, and it acts like a TV show.
Okay.
So there's episodes, very similar to what I imagined Quantum Break was.
Yes. Sadly.
The only thing is, and I learned this from the last game, Alan Wake is a pretty terrible dude.
Yeah?
He's not a good person.
Okay, leave it there.
He's not great. It's just, I'm like, oh, Alan, you're not a nice guy. You're not a nice guy. So I'm hopefully he gets better as time goes on, but I'm not loving him as a character just yet.
Okay. Do you see how like this is connected to Control? Just yes or no?
100%.
All right, I'm in. I can't
can see where they got the Control world from for sure.
Okay, I'm in. Question here.
Perfect time for it to release too. Spooky time in October.
Yeah,
it is 100% should be on your radar and play, especially for new PlayStation fans who've never played it. Like,
how's the haptics?
Okay,
I heard it. Like, I heard people like it's great.
Maybe I just didn't notice it, but it's holding down the flashlight all the way to boost it. There is some tension there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not crazy from what I've experienced. I could have just turned it off, and maybe I was too scared to notice. But
$30, Kyle.
Is that it? $30?
$30 American.
Well worth your time.
All right. I'm excited.
Trophyless is a bit of a bummer.
Hard.
You have to beat it on the hardest difficulty.
Please stop doing this. Please stop.
It looks from what my research told me, they just copied the achievements from 360.
Okay.
And just put them on.
All right.
So if you did it on 360 before, you can do it again on PlayStation if you want.
All right. There you go. And you know what? That's definitely something I'm going to be checking out closer to Halloween. So I'm very excited because I love that Control universe and anything that gets me.
I can't wait until you play it and then you tell me just how unsettling the wearing headphones are.
Oh God.
Because if you didn't like Hellblade, there's a lot of just whooshing sounds and voices. Like, I'm excited to hear your thoughts.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, that's what you've been playing. Because to me,
thank you, Remedy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Kind souls. I'm now on the platinum track for Far Cry.
Far Cry.
So hopefully by the time you get it, we have that co-op session. The platinum has been acquired.
Sweet.
Now it's time for the Sony Pony Express. Yeehaw!
I had to take a sip and I had to mute my mic and I forgot.
We're going to close the show out with 2 questions. One comes from Hide Indoors. She writes, Joe, you said you were playing the female protagonist in your playthrough of Far Cry 6. I usually play as a lady if I choose, or if I can choose. How do you guys pick your characters in games? Be it pre-rendered choices or when you can build the appearance from scratch? I usually choose the pre-rendered because when you give me a character editor, I usually just, and it's not because like, oh, this would be a funny gag. They usually look like something crawled out of a, toxic, toxic pit.
Yeah. You should share your Bloodborne character.
Oh, and here's the beautiful thing about the Bloodborne one.
Yeah,
the Bloodborne one. I'll be like, and it's the same thing. Just like
sure. Yeah.
The one character that I'll give big props to was my Mass Effect Shepard. She looks freaking terrific. She looks awesome. I don't know how I was able to do it, but Mass Effect 2's version of her, they messed up her hair, and I don't like it. Don't like it.
Yeah. I usually go with the created character from scratch. I enjoy doing that a lot. But it also depends. Like, I have restarted games where when in the game, I look at the model and go, I don't like the way it looks anymore. And I'll just restart the entire game and make a new character from scratch or just go with what they give me. And I also tend to go with the female protagonist almost every single time. I'm tired of having a dude bro yell in my ear when I'm doing things.
Yeah, it's whatever. I'm a dude all the time. Let me be a pretty lady.
Exactly.
And also, usually to me, I think I've talked about this in the past as well. Armor sets on females look better to me. Like, because like World of Warcraft, classic example, the pauldrons, the shoulder pads are too huge on dudes. So that's why I always usually pick the female protagonist. And when it comes to Far Cry 6, she ain't hard to look at. Danny Rojas is my wife, and she could crush my windpipe, and I'd thank her. I'd be, thank you so much. All right. There's enough of that. Captain Logan, the last question, Far Cry related as well. I already touched in my question about specific ammo types, but I'd love to hear how accessible the game is as a Disability Awareness Month, and if there were any accessibility features you used. I always use subtitles and everything.
Same. Mm-hmm.
Because my hearing, like, I'll miss a word here or there, and I'm like, it annoys me. So I usually use subtitles. I didn't get into the accessibility options too much, but from what I'm aware of, it is there, and you could play around with it a bit. But I would go to Can I Play That? I think there are podcasts that dives specifically into that stuff, which is awesome. Yeah,
caniplaythat.com as well.
Bam. With that, Kyle, that has been the trophy room this week. What an episode. Congrats us. We did great. We crushed it.
On that note, real quick, as I search up caniplaythat.com,
sure.
The PlayStation Store just launched an accessibility collection. So on the store, there will be a collection of games that have great accessibility options.
Oh, nice.
So that's really, really, really cool.
That is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There you have it. Awesome. Kyle, is there anything you'd like to spotlight before we head on out of here?
Yeah. Beforehand, I've been feeling bad this whole episode of my little mini rant at the beginning. I appreciate everyone who spends their money and gives
from
us
New
money
Jersey
or whatever. Sure, New Jersey's all right.
Oh, okay. That's what I really thought you were aiming at.
No, it's just like I just got fed up. I did not mean that for the hardworking people that spend their money on us and people that they love to support.
Oh no, I didn't get that one.
I know, but you know me in my own head. I gotta say it. So I love you very much. In other words, you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. KSF and on Twitter. That's on Twitter, PSN, Xbox. And you can find all the indie game coverage over at 61indie.com. That's SIXONEINDIE, as well as Twitch, YouTube, and all that jazz. Exciting things coming over in that end, so keep a lookout.
Woo. And you can find me over at Mr. Badbit on Twitter. You can find the show at PS Trophy Room. Something that I forgot to mention in the beginning of the show because we're arguing why New Jersey is better than New York, aka we don't have to pump our own gas. We have people do it for us. We're regal. Oh, don't do this. Don't.
Lazy.
This is how the divorce happens. This is when mommy and daddy start fighting.
You want a divorce over gas station?
Yes.
Morality?
Yes. It's important to me. We are 4 reviews away from 200 on the U.S. Apple charts.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Think about that. So please, if you haven't already, shoot us a 5-star review, no more, no less, over at Apple Podcasts. It really does help us out. We were the #1 gaming podcast in the UK. We were number 20 in the US for leisure. We were number, I think, 11 for video game podcasts in the world.
That's a group win. Everyone listening, that is also your win.
Mm-hmm.
So celebrate with us. That's huge.
Yes, dude, it is mind-blowing. So thank you all so much. Newcomers, longtime listeners, y'all are absolutely incredible. And as I say this, we're number 12 on the Great Britain video game chart right now. So look at us, Kyle. Look at us. Would you believe that?
Hey, look at it. Who'd have thought?
Not me. And also, if I were to be so bold as to ask you one more favor, we are throwing our hats in for the the future class
for the Game
Awards. I'm going to have that on Twitter, and they asked for like a photo of the winner. I'm gonna also throw a image on Twitter as well, but you could also just use my icon or Kyle's icon on Twitter. And we're super pumped. Hopefully that happens, and again, it's only possible with your help. So
mean the world to have the trophy room of PlayStation podcast be on the future class. That would just Oh my God, that would just be unreal.
That'd be pretty dang awesome.
Pretty dang awesome.
So with all that said, and with all that out of the way, everybody, keep your wits about you. Keep hunting. And keep playing PlayStation. See you guys.
It's been 7,979 days since Legend of Dragoon. I forgot to get that in there earlier.
Cut. We can't.
I know you gotta go. It's fine.